this is Gina. Today I'm going to show you how to make these little cross themed type earrings. I think I'm going to call them flower ring crosses because it kind of looks like a flower, it kind of looks like cross. And if you use lots of really pretty pastel colors, they can be very Eastery, or like this, they look kind of native. It just depends on the colors you use, and you can make them look more like a cross or more like a flower, however you want to do it. Anyway, this is what we're going to make today, and let's look and see what it will take to make this project. Okay, for today's project, you're going to need Superduos. I am using a blue turquoise luster Superduo. Then you will need some 3x2 Rondelles, and this is a jet black 3x2. Then you will need some 4x6 Rondelles, or 6x4, excuse me, and this is also a jet, and they're both Chinese crystals. And then you're going to need an 11/0 and a 15/0. Now I'm using a check 11/0 simply because it's the color that works the best in all the beads I have. So I'm going to use a check 11/0 today. And then I've got some 15/0 Miyuki, and this is black also. So then you will need ear wires, and I'm going to use lever backs today, so you'll need 2 ear wires. And you will need a size 10 or 12 beading needle. I'm going to use 8-pound Fireline in smoke today. Put about an arm's length and a half of Fireline on your needle, and let's get started. So to start this project, you're going to pick up and make sure you've checked your Superduos and that both holes are open. Pick up a Superduo, a 3x2 Rondelle, a Superduo, a small Rondelle, a Superduo, a small Rondelle, a Superduo, a small Rondelle, and this is what you should have. So let's get close so you can see it. So you will have 4 Superduos and 4 Rondelles. Start with the Superduo, end with a Rondelle. And then you will bring this to the end of your Fireline. And you don't have to leave much of a tail, just enough to where your beads won't slip through. And we're just going to tie these into a knot. Otherwise, they'll slip around really badly. Make sure your knot goes down between your beads and not on top of them as you secure it. And then just pull tightly. And you should just have a little circle that looks like this. And then we're going to sew back through these just to secure them enough to where we can cut that tail out of the way, because it'll bug me. So we're just going to sew all the way around all of these beads. And when I get back to where my tail is, I'm going to go through just the crystal between the Superduos. And you want to pull these tight, but not so tight that you can't get between them, because we are going to be working through the crystals on our next step here. And I'm going to just cut this down enough to where it's not going to be in my way. And I'll just tuck it under my finger. Okay, so you should be exiting a Rondelle crystal. And then we are going to pick up 3 Miyuki, or whatever kind of 15/0s you have, and then an 11/0, and then 3 more 15/0s. So you will have on your needle 3 15/0s and an 11/0 and 3 15/0s. You're coming out of this Rondelle right here. Let me get a little closer. And now you're going to skip over the Superduo and go into the next Rondelle. And when you pull these over, they want to go on the opposite side, which is fine. Just let them go down like that, and then turn your piece over. Because this will be the front, the side that the seed beads go over. Then we will pick up 3 15 O's and an 11 O and 3 more 15 O's. Let me see if I like that 11 O. I'm using check 11 O's. Sometimes they're a little funny. So anyway, this is what you'll have. 3 15 O's, 11 O, 3 15 O's, and then you'll go into the next crystal and just the crystal. And this time you'll want to guide your beads to go on top, because this is going to be our top side, like I said. Then pick up 3 15 O's, an 11 O, and 3 15 O's, and do the same thing again. Skip over the Superduo and go into the crystal, and just the crystal, and pull your beads on top of the Superduo, like so. Pick up 3 15 O's and an 11 O. If I can pick these up, I will. And an 11 O, and then 3 more 15 O seed beads onto your needle. Like so. Then you are coming out of this rondelle here. You're going to skip over the Superduo again and go through the next rondelle. And just the rondelle, and pull the beads down. Okay, so I'm just arranging my Superduos. They're falling down. So now I'm coming out of this rondelle here. I am going to go up into this next Superduo in the top hole, just like this. And I'm going to back off just a little. Pull your thread through. And then you are going to pick up a Superduo, a rondelle, the small one, and a Superduo, like so. And you're coming out of the top hole of this Superduo here. You're going to go into the top hole of the next Superduo and pull. And then you're coming out of this Superduo now. You're going to pick up 3 Superduos, and you're going to go into the next Superduo. And this is what you should have. Then we are going to pick up a Superduo, a rondelle, to come here, and a Superduo. And we're coming out of this hole here. We're going to go into the top hole of the next Superduo and pull. And then we will pick up 3 Superduos. Make sure that one has open hole. 1, 2, 3. And we will go into the next Superduo top hole and the next Superduo that we just put on in the bottom hole. So I'm just going through, just like this. We're going to sew all the way around the layer we just put on, just to make sure everything is tight and secure and looks good. So I'm just going to go through all of the beads. Let's get a little closer so you can see. I'll just go through following my thread path that I just made. So I'll go through all of the beads. And this will just secure things for me so that my beads will stay nicely in place while I do my next steps. I don't want this base unit to fall apart, so I'm just reinforcing it. And it might not necessarily fall apart if you don't do this, but it does move around a little bit more. So I'm going to go all the way around, and when I come to my last Superduo I put on, I'm all the way around, I'm going to exit, and then I'm going to hop into, so I'm in the bottom hole, I'm going to hop into the top hole of it, like so. And now I am coming out of the Superduo right next to the division where we made with the rondelle. So you'll have your Superduo, rondelle, Superduo. You'll be coming out of the top, and then you have a little opening here. So what you're going to do here is you're going to put in 2 rondelles, the small ones, and go into the top hole of the next Superduo in line, and pull these little rondelles between the Superduos so that they lay in there nicely. And then you will pick up a Superduo, go into the next Superduo, and another Superduo, go into the next Superduo here. When you get to the division here, then you are again going to pick up 2 rondelles. I'm saying division because there's a little opening. We're going to pick up 2 rondelles. Now, when we get to the Superduos where there's a rondelle in between in our first units here, we are going to pick up 3 Superduos and place them between the Superduos here. So we'll go into this Superduo in the top hole with 3 Superduos, like so. Then we again have an opening here. We're going to put 2 rondelles into that opening right here. Now we're going to put Superduos between the Superduos on this side. So pick up a Superduo and place it between the Superduos. And then again, pick up a Superduo and place it between the Superduos. And then we have one more little opening here that we need to put 2 rondelles in. So we're going to put in our 2 rondelles here. And then we're again in the wide opening on this side, so we want to match this side. We're going to put in 3 Superduos. So pick up 3 Superduos onto your needle, like so, and go from this Superduo to the top hole of the next Superduo in line, and also go through the rondelle behind it. Pull this down. Go through the next rondelle and the next Superduo and the Superduo behind it if you can. And this is where Superduos get kind of tricky trying to get through them. So I'm just going to go through this rondelle, the Superduo, and pull through. And then I'm going to go through the next Superduo that's sticking up. This way I can get to my next layer by going into the top hole of this Superduo that's sticking up. So we're going to go into this one. And of course we will then be changing directions. So now we'll be sewing this direction. So we're coming out of the Superduo right next to where we had put in our 2 rondelles. Now in this space we're going to put 4 rondelles. So pick up 4 of your small rondelles onto your needle, like so. And you're just going to go from this Superduo in the top hole to this Superduo in the top hole and exit. Pull these down, like so. I'm going to turn my piece, and between these Superduos here, I am now going to place a rondelle, like so. And then I will pick up another rondelle, small ones, go through the next Superduo. And then again, we need to fill in the space here, so we will pick up 4 rondelles. Like so. We're going to go from this Superduo to the next one in line. Pull, I'm going to turn my piece. Now here, you can see we have a pretty wide opening on the ends here. So what we're going to do here is we are going to pick up an 11/0, a large rondelle, and an 11/0. So you're going to use your 4x6 rondelle here, like so. We're going to go from this Superduo to the top hole in this Superduo and bring a rondelle down, like so. Now I am going to turn my piece again, and I am right over where I have placed my rondelles, so I'm going to pick up 4 rondelles, and I am going to go from this rondelle to this rondelle, or excuse me, this Superduo to this Superduo in the top hole, right here, and pull. And again, we will place our small rondelles between the 3 Superduos here. So pick up a rondelle, go from Superduo to Superduo in the top hole, and another rondelle, and go into the next Superduo. Then we need to fill in this space again, so we will pick up 4 of the 3x2 rondelles. Nothing wants to go on my needle today. There we go. And then we will go into the next Superduo top hole, like so. Now we need to match this side to this side, so we'll pick up an 11/0, a large rondelle, and an 11/0. And we will go from this hole to this one in the Superduos. And we will also go into the rondelles behind them. And just get as many as you can. We're going to sew all the way over to this rondelle so that we can make our attachment for our ear wire. And that way it'll just be more secure. So just sew from bead to bead until you get there. And it can be difficult because the crystals lay at funny angles and it blocks the holes of the Superduos. So just sew through it the best you can. If you have to go 1 at a time, 2 at a time, whatever you have to do, just sew through until you get to the other side into the large rondelle. Now I'm going to go into this Superduo, the 11/0, and the rondelle. Right there. Then I'm going to pick up 4 15/0 seed beads. And then I will pick up one of my 2x3 rondelles. And I will also, let me get some of this stuff out of my way, I will pick up my ear wire. I'm going to face my ear wire up because this is the front of my earring here, and I'm going to slide through my ear wire with these 5 beads I just put on here, like this. Let's get this back in the picture. And then pick up a rondelle, the small ones, of course, and 4 seed beads, the 15/0s. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like this. And then go back into the rondelle crystal on your piece, right here. Pull this through, and my ear wire was open. So I am going to open it, put it back on there, and then close it. Make sure when you do this that your ear wire is closed tightly so that it will not slip, the thread will not slip through, or you'll just do what I just did and have to fix it. And it's sometimes very hard to see if you've got it closed or not. Of course, some of you might not be as blind as I am, but anyway, so you're just going to sew through like that. And then I'm going to sew through this connection several times. So I'm going to go through these 15/0s here, the rondelle and then the ear wire again and pull through. Once you get it once or twice, it won't be quite as sloppy, but it's going to be kind of sloppy work the first time around here. Then I'm going to go through all of these beads here, back through my rondelle, and then I'm going to go back through the 4 beads. I'm going to do this 2 or 3 times, 3 or 4 times, however many times you think that it's going to take to make this nice and secure. Of course, if you would like to, you can attach that with a jump ring too, but I think that's just an extra piece that doesn't really need to be on there. Either way, the thread is going to be somewhere where there's a crease that it can slip through, so that's why we put the little rondelles on either side to help it from slipping through. But sometimes that doesn't matter. So I want to tighten it as much as I can, keep my rondelles as tight to my ear wire as I can, so that I still want some movement, but I don't want my ear wire to slip out. And I'm going to go through this one more time just for good measure. Okay, so I'm going to have to go through this way. It's getting a little tight, but I'm determined to get one more thread through. Okay, after I go through my last seed bead here and my rondelle again, straighten it all out how I want it to look, and then I'm going to sew down into this 11-0 here. So I'm coming out of the rondelle, I'm going to sew into this 11-0, and I'm going to sew down all of the rondelles next to it, the Superduo, then the rondelles. I am just sewing through the holes on my outer layer here. This is going to reinforce the outside a little bit and get my thread to a point to where I can tie it off. I'm going to sew all the way down to the bottom here because I see that my rondelle's a little loose, so I'm just going to go down and reinforce all this. These Superduos next to crystals can be a real trick. It's the way you get your needle all bent into the real curious shapes. Okay, so now I have sewn all the way down. I'm going to go through my rondelle, tighten that up, make sure it looks good, go through this side, and then I will just tie a knot right on the other side of this Superduo here. Well, I went through a rondelle. I'm just going to tie a knot here. Make sure that it goes down between my beads. And then I'll sew up a few more here. You can tie it a couple knots if you want, but by the time you go all the way, sewing all the way around the outside here, it's going to be secure. So I'm just going to tie that one, and then I'll work all the way up my earring here. Just so that I know that I will have good shape. The more thread I put through the outside here, the better my shape is going to hold. And so I will go through this 11-0 here, and I'm just going to cut it off here. I'm going to leave a little bit extra. I'm going to burn it down with a lighter, and I'm going to call it done. So, let me see. Actually, I'm going to turn it this way. Make sure my rondelle is laying good. And then I'm going to get its little partner right here. And that is what this set of earrings looks like. Let's give you a nice close-up here. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you have a wonderful Easter, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.